I recently got engaged to my boyfriend of 4 years. We're beyond excited. His mom has always been a nightmare, but I'm not worried about it as he handles her. She got engaged a few months before we did to Chris. I somewhat know Chris as his ex-wife is one of my mom's best friends. I know just through their friendship that Chris never paid child support. They split when their son was 12, and he never gave her a dime despite making very good money. Due to this, I've never respected Chris, but he has gotten worse in the past year due to an issue between him and my fiance. When we got engaged, I was showing everyone my ring, and he loudly asked mother-in-law what she would have said if he proposed with that ring. She gave him a look, but he kept going and was laughing about how she would have just walked out. Hers is much bigger and probably real diamond, where mine is a lab diamond, which is what I wanted. I announced that Chris maybe shouldn't be spending so much on a ring when he must owe his ex a ton in unpaid child support, and don't men go to jail for that? He looked mortified, and obviously the family was curious. Mother-in-law snapped at me and they left. I thought it was over, but Chris's ex called me and chewed me out. She said she didn't want child support because she can take care of her own child, and she believes men have rights as well, and Chris has begged her to terminate. She was really rude about it and hung up on me. Again, I thought it was over, but Chris sent me a message that if I opened my stupid mouth again, he would sue for defamation. I took this very seriously as he is a lawyer. I told everyone I cannot be around Chris. I won't be going to their wedding. He can't come to ours, and I will not attend family events if he is there. Most of the family took my side and said they would stop inviting Chris. Now this is blown up into mother-in-law saying she will never speak to any of us again, and grandfather-in-law is backing her. The family is in absolute turmoil, and mother-in-law is threatening to disown her own son if he doesn't say Chris can come to our wedding. Not the a-hole. I would send Chris a letter in terms that he, as a lawyer, can understand. Explain to him that since he has voiced a condition unto which he would proceed with a civil suit, it would only be responsible of you to take action to limit your exposure to triggering that suit. This is simply a liability-limiting action, and there is no loss on his behalf due to there being no entitlement to the general public of attendance to his private event. Not the a-hole, because I would be damned if I would have anything to do with Chris after his insults and threat. You should, however, seek legal advice on the defamation, in case he turns out to be a bigger a-hole than he already appears to be. Keep copies of the message from Chris, apologize to Chris's ex, and explain yourself. You and your fiancé need to be on the same page though, especially if you have kids, and don't want Chris, your mother-in-law, around you. Your fiancé needs to talk with his mom about insulting the ring. How can he sue for defamation if what you said was true about the child support? He's just upset because you called him out in front of other people after he was snarky and rude to you. You can't be the a-hole for telling the truth. Not the a-hole. Clearly, his ex-wife does want child support if she complained about it. And whether she wants it now or not, he has to pay it or he can go to prison. That's the law with the courts, and that's on him. It annoys me when parents say they don't want anything from the parent that got stuck with child support, because it's not for the parents, it's for the child. Even if she didn't want to spend the child support, she could have put the money away for college for the child. It wasn't true, as there was no order. He doesn't owe her any money. I, 33 male, live in a very wealthy county near the East Coast with a fantastic school system and safety net. It wouldn't surprise me at all if someone were to guess it. My home is just a normal house. It's not going to be featured on TV or a magazine. However, it's valued over $1 million, simply because of the location. I inherited this home from my parents, who left it to me along with 2 other homes that I rent out. I do not work. I understand that is a privilege. My girlfriend is 31 and is taking classes for a nursing degree. She currently works as a CNA. If you don't know, a CNA is a very tough job, but doesn't make much money at all. She works and studies hard. We've been together for 4 years. I do love her very much. My girlfriend has a daughter that is 12, 13 this summer. The issue is, the daughter hates me. At least once a day there would be a snide remark on how her mom works, but I don't, and I'm just lazy. She mocks me whenever I have an opinion that's different from hers. She talks about me to her grandparents, dad, and friends, which gets back to their parents, because I make her mom work and I'm lazy. It's always something. This past fall she began acting out in physical ways. She broke 2 windows in the house, deflated the tires on my car and my bike, cracked my switch screen, and the last straw was letting my dog loose in the neighborhood, resulting in him being caught by animal control. Yes, he was fine, but that isn't okay at all in my book. I told girlfriend that her daughter had to go. If I lost her as well, then so be it. She's a mom first, and her daughter isn't coming around even with therapy. Girlfriend asked for more time, and she would make it work, and explained she couldn't leave her job and school as it would push her degree further away. I told her daughter had to go. No more discussion. Here's where I'm lost. Daughter asked girlfriend if her grandparents could take her in until she's done with school. Everyone was good with this. Daughter was very happy vocally with this until school started, because her grandparents live 2 hours away in a very poor school district. Again, some can probably guess the location where we live, and she's getting picked on really bad. She told her mom that it's because of race, and it's gotten physical twice, but most of it is really bad verbal aggression. She can't go to the local park to walk, or she comes home in tears from what I understand. Daughter has started asking to come back here after winter break, and her mom thinks that was the kick she needed to be respectful. I refused. I don't want her here anymore. Life is peaceful, and I'm not being attacked anymore, and I'm living the life I want without judgment. She could have killed my damn dog. Am I the a-hole for not allowing her daughter to move back in? I'll probably get hate over this, but not the a-hole. The a-hole in this story is your girlfriend, who chose you over her own daughter. I can't call you an a-hole for not wanting to house a child that's not yours. She's not your responsibility, and you told her mother that you no longer wanted the responsibility. Your girlfriend, on the other hand, should have done a better job to either have you two get along or find a new place for her and her daughter. Honestly, it more sounds like she's trying to better their life. By the post numbers, she had her daughter really young, probably years of struggle. Now she's trying to earn a degree. She lives with OP, so living expenses aren't as bad, and she can juggle her life. If she is uprooted, that is either going to stop altogether or take much, much longer. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if as soon as she graduates and lands a decent job, she dumps OP. He isn't an a-hole for not wanting so many issues, but I really don't see that relationship lasting unless she is a terrible person. Not the a-hole, but I think you need to understand that if you view your girlfriend as a long-term romantic partner, her daughter will always be part of that situation. If you can't tolerate her daughter, which you understandably can't, I don't think you can ever take your relationship to the next level, and you're wasting your own time. My daughter came to me at 17 and said she was pregnant. It was a huge shock, and I was disappointed. We had safe talks, I put her on the pill, etc. But we made it through. When my granddaughter was born, I helped my daughter and her boyfriend as much as I could. I was always told that her birth control failed, and that's why she got pregnant. Fast forward a year later, and they're pregnant once again. Birth control failure. I was suspicious, but my daughter swore up and down she was taking her pills, and I was picking them up from the pharmacy for her, so it shouldn't have been a problem. I guess I wasn't the only one suspicious. Her boyfriend started doing some snooping, and one day, I came home to find he's gone, and he took the baby. My daughter is a wreck. I asked what happened. She said that he's accusing her of getting pregnant both times on purpose, calling her crazy, and wants full custody of both kids. I got her to calm down and asked her a few times if he was right about her getting pregnant on purpose. She finally confessed. She admitted to just not taking her birth control the months she wanted to conceive, and flushing them. I have never been more pissed. These pregnancies have caused our family to go into a state of disarray. We had to rearrange our whole lives. I love my grandbaby, but life is 10 times harder. I was so angry with her. I told her that she had to go stay with her grandmother for a bit, after calling to see if she'd take her, or if she didn't want to go there, anywhere else. She asked how long a bit was, and I said I wasn't sure. It's been a couple of weeks. I know her boyfriend has let her see the baby and they're working out custody, but that's just from my mom. My husband says we should let her move back in, but I don't know. I'm so angry with her right now. It was one thing when it was an accident, but she did it on purpose. She'll be 19 soon, so legally we don't have to, but my husband feels it's right. He says we can't kick her out over this, but I feel like I can't be around her. Am I the a-hole for kicking her out? Not the a-hole. Kick her out. She wants to be a grown-up and have babies. She can be a grown-up and support herself. Not the a-hole. She made adult choices. Now she has to face adult consequences. She made her bed and now she gets to lay in it. Hopefully this will force her to grow up and realize how her terrible choices affect everyone. Not the a-hole. She can't be an adult having babies and also expect to be taken care of like a little kid. Seriously though, there are deeper issues here. What drives a 17-year-old to want to be a mother, and then to do it again a year later? I suspect that there are loads of issues going unaddressed here. Perhaps you let her move back in, but make family and/or individual counseling a requirement. The counseling may help untangle some of the things that caused her to think that such horrendously bad choices were, in fact, good choices. Then you can be in a better position to actually help her if you wish, or tell her she's on her own. I'm 26 female, one of 2 children. My father passed 13 years ago. A year later, she met Dennis, and 6 months afterwards, he moved in. He has 3 kids from a previous relationship. Things changed drastically. I was 16 when they married. It was just an awful environment. He's the kind to throw a rock and hide his hands. He often ridiculed my brother and his sexuality, spoke upon our late father, nitpicked with me about anything he could, and then acted as if he meant no harm. Honestly speaking, no, we didn't like him or his children. We tolerated him because our mother loved him, which still rings true till today. He came in trying to take over. His kids are rude, disrespectful, and entitled. Like my brother, I basically planned to never look back, but I was offered a nice job right here out of college. My brother is more forgiving and accepting than I am. Then again, it may be because he lives over 10 hours away in another state. I don't visit my mother unless she's alone, or she visits me. Our relationship has grown tremendously, and it's the best it's ever been as long as we don't discuss her husband. I'm due to give birth to my first child in about 4 months, and she's excited. This will be her first bio-grandchild. She's been here every step of the way. Her plan is to stay with me once the baby is born to help out. Only one problem. She wants Dennis to come. Not happening. I live 2 hours away from her, so I suggested she just visit. I guess, determined to get to the root of the problem, she asked me why it is that I won't accept him. I brushed it off because this was a conversation I felt she wasn't ready to have, but seeing how passionate she was about it, I gave her the truth. He's a lazy, leeching bum. That he doesn't love her, only what she can do for him. My father left us a nice but strict estate. Dennis only has worked 4 years out of the entirety of their marriage. My mom pays all the bills. He's a narcissistic a-hole. He and my mother share no kids. He's not disabled. He hasn't contributed anything to their marriage, but another mouth to feed. He's practically a roommate with benefits. The man doesn't even mow the yard, barely takes out the trash, loves to dictate what can and can't happen in a home he will never legally own, nor pay bills in. His kids stay hitting her up for money because they can. That he's only around because she puts up with his BS, but if a better payout came along, that he would be gone. That he manipulated her till the point that she overlooked how me and my brother felt. For years she turned us out. It was only when we moved away that she wanted to come around. This upset my mother. She left, told me that she couldn't believe I felt this way, that no matter how I felt, Dennis was still her husband. I told her I know, you've always pushed my brother and I to the side for him, and nothing has changed. I blocked her number. Now I'm wondering if I should have said anything at all. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You were right that your mom wasn't ready to hear that, but she needed to. You weren't going to change her mind, but you planted a seed. There will be a part of her brain that will look at things he does differently now. Whether or not she listens to that part of her brain, who knows? She may never be ready, or the fear of being alone may override that part of her brain. But planting that seed is all you can really do. It will take root more firmly if your sibling echoes those sentiments to her. I would suggest you not shut her out entirely, though keep a distance. If she is being manipulated, as you say, even if she does come to see it, she may stay because she feels she has no one else to turn to. Not the a-hole. Your mother is a toxic fool herself for putting a man before her own kids. I would not be surprised at all if she is manipulated by him into giving the state to him, rather than you and your brother when she dies. Not the a-hole. People should never ask questions they don't want the answer to. Your mom ducked around and got confirmation of what she likely already knew. I have twins, a 26-year-old boy and girl. From their births, we set aside some money to mature big expenses, a deposit for a house, a wedding, something like that. They were both aware of that money and knew the stipulations surrounding it. It had to be something that they couldn't do without that money to help them. I want to make it clear that neither of them have asked for the money outside of the circumstances I'll explain below. At the start of last year, my son got engaged. Their plan was to get married at his now wife's favorite place, a rather grand hotel. They approached us with this plan, and my son asked for his money to put down a deposit. The reservation was pricey, but this place is one used by the kids of celebrities and stuff like that. We agreed, with the money covering around 80% of the total cost for the reservation. My son, his wife, and her family covered the rest of the cost for the day. Their wedding was in December, and it was a lovely time. Earlier this month, my daughter approached me saying that her and her fiance have been talking about their wedding. She said that they decided that they were going to elope in the near future. Specifically, they were going to get married in some rural location in a random European country that she's always been obsessed with. I asked if she needed the money for some kind of destination wedding, and she said no, that no one was being invited. They're going to hire a local celebrant and a couple of witnesses. Or, if that fails, get married at the local council offices, and then go off to this place and have their marriage blessed there. She then said that the money would ideally be used for a series of parties back home when it was safe. She met her fiancé at university and his family lives in another part of the country, so she'd have something with them, something with us, and then something with their friends at some kind of central location. She'd priced it all out, and it was about 35% of the total funds in the account. She said they'd like to use the rest for a deposit for a house in the future. I was shocked that she wanted to disregard her family and exclude us from her wedding, and then use money we've saved all her life for a party. I told her as much, and said that the money could only be used for a wedding where we were actually allowed to attend, and she could use it all on a house, but no parties. She was upset, and hasn't really spoken to me since. My son says that I was in the right since they've known these rules all their lives, and parties are not an expense that fit the criteria. However, my husband says that if he could act unilaterally, then he'd let them have the money. Am I wrong for wanting the money to be used responsibly? Yes, the a-hole. What's different between your son's wedding that you attended and the party to celebrate your daughter's marriage? They're both big parties to celebrate a couple's love and devotion. The fact that you were okay with your son blowing all of his portion on one day at a fancy hotel because celebrities' kids have parties there. But your daughter is being far more responsible and actually putting most of her portion towards a home, and you're refusing. Honestly, it sounds like you like your son more than your daughter. Your overall tone when writing about her is dismissive. I guarantee she's picked up on it too.